Dante realized that each soul was like a ruby, which shines with affection, the Father's love. He saw the souls that formed the beak spread apart as if the eagle was opening its beak. A voice from said, "Because I was just and pious, I am exalted here in this place of glory, higher than desire might conceive. On earth I left an example of my good deeds, which even evil men praise, though they must have followed them." However, Dante, all what Dante heard was, because we are just and pious, we were exalted here in this place of glory, higher than desire might conceive, an example of our good deeds, which even evil men praise, though they would do better to follow them. As the souls sang as one, Dante told them that he knew that divine justice reflected throughout the cosmos. However, these souls saw the direct eternal justice he presented at an unspoken question. The beak opened up again, and the souls sang in praise and worship. Then the soul spoke in unity with the borders of the observable universe, even the things that could not be seen. This same measurement was used by the Father to complete his creation of even the angelic hosts. It was therefore stated that the prince of the sick, named Lucifer, was almost complete when he grew prideful and rebelled, resulting in his fall from heaven. This statement contradicts biblical tradition in that every part of creation was completed on the day they were created. For example, the land animals were completely finished on the day they were all created. The heavenly hosts were completed by the seventh day of creation week. In Orthodox and Messianic Judaism, it is believed that the angelic beings were either created on the second day or fifth day, while there is an opinion that second day and others were created on the fifth day. I added just that the heavenly hosts were completed by the seventh day. We really do not know what day of the week of creation angelic hosts were actually created. I digress. Even though they see the full measure of divine justice directly, the jovial souls could not see the source of this justice directly. To put this on a modern illusion, let us perceive two soldiers are in a black barracks. One of them stands along the wall on one end, and directly across from him stands his comrade. The comrade turns on a very bright flashlight, illuminating the first man. This first man can see the beam being emitted of the flashlight, but not the bulb of the lamp itself. If even the highest angelic being could not fully embrace the Father's justice at its source, how could the saints of this sphere even attempt to look at the Father's justice? Expounding on this, how could mere mortal man attempt to look at the Father's justice in its full measure, much less at its source? This was also equated to the oceanic. If a person stood on the shore, they could see the oceanic shelf, while they could not see the seabed from sailing on the open ocean. This oceanic illusion implied that the closer to him, the clearer a person can see. The divine justice mandated that everyone embrace the only true light, which is the light of the Father. All views that are non-Judeo-Christian views were therefore irrelevant and void. In limbo, Dante had been confused as to why the virtuous pagans were in hell, but not tormented in hell. To address this, the eagle suggested the following illusion. Say that a man was born in India, the farthest country. There, the eagle claimed that no one spoke of or wrote about Christ. This statement rejects the historical fact that Christianity was brought to India by St. Thomas, which is where he suffered martyrdom. These Christians are St. Thomas, who at the time were reconnecting with the Church of the East. This Indian man does good and worthy, goes out of his way to be moral by earthly standards. However, he died outside the Christian faith and unbaptized. It was understandable to wonder how the soul of such man could be damned. Could it simply be the damnation was only the result for failing to be a Christian? Quoting Romans 9:20, the eagle told the great Florentine poet, "Now who art thou that on the in judgment at 1,000 miles away with the short vision of a single span?" Canto 1979-81. The span refers to the biblical measurement for 9 inches, but figuratively means that a human, like Dante, can only perceive a certain level of. Dante knew Scripture and had access to it. Therefore, the eagle say that he had no grounds for debating with it. Divine will and goodness are one and far exceeds. Anyone outside of the divine will of the Father moves against his goodness. Therefore, that man lacks the truth, understanding, and justice. In fact, nothing can sway his divine will and goodness, so nothing good can be created without coming from his. As Dante looked up, he saw the eagle flapping its wings as it rose, taking flight and circling overhead, it saying, "As are my notes to thee, who dost not come, such is the eternal judgment to you mortals." Canto 1997-99. It then stalled in midair, causing Dante to become reminiscent of the eagle of Rome. After pausing momentarily, it stated another biblical, "No one can be saved but through Christ." Born of the Virgin Mary into the Jewish people and the Son of the King of the universe. The cultural Christians, the liberal Christians, and other fake Christians will be damned to hell in the lake of fire, and will be in worse straits than pagans, those practicing false religions such as Islam, Buddhism, Hinduism, New Age, or atheism / agnostic. The pious, conservative, traditional, reform, and charismatic Christians will be rich forever in eternal bliss. There will be various immoral rulers judged on the last day, exposed for their evil deeds. Some of these rulers would be King Albert I of Germany, Philip IV of France, King Edward I of England, King Ferdinand IV of Castile and Leon, King IV of Bohemia, King Charles II of Apulia and Naples, King Frederick III of Sicily, King James I of Aragon, King James II of Aragon, King Haakon V Magnusson of King Denis of Portugal, King Stefan Urlos I of Serbia, Queen Joan of Navarre, and King II